Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Expat Episodes, sponsored of course by the Ostrava Expat Centre, which we are back into today, and here today with my guest, Taisiia Petrova from Russia,
Hi.
also known as Tess.
The mentality is not very different. The education here is free in Czech. It was much easier with Czech crown than a euro. When you live in Russia, it's a bit harder. It was really spontaneous. For a year, I had my Czech courses. Got a B2 certificate. We were all living in the dorms, and we had a great team, a great company there. My first Erasmus was when I was doing my bachelor's, so I went to Belgium. Then I went to Poland. Well, this year actually in summer, I went to Lisbon, to Portugal. I was studying music for 5 years, and I continued singing. And now we're 4. We are rumor nights. We actually played twice in Dock, which was an amazing experience, of course, because Dock is, the place that you end up in Ostrava when you made something in music.
This is Expat Episodes, when news stories begin. I'm Ian, your host, and I'll be guiding you through the stories of expats in the Czech Republic. So, first off, let's start with where you're from, because we're doing this about expats being here.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Moscow, from Russia. Lived there my whole life until I was 18, and then I moved here.
Okay, so just the big question is why? Why Czech Republic? Why here? And yeah, you're coming from a huge, massive city with a culture and everything like this, coming to Ostrava.
I guess when I was a teenager, I was imagining Europe as, something that would send me to orbit.
Okay.
Something super cool. And I was also, I attended this exhibition of foreign universities in foreign countries. So there was US, there was Europe. And Czechia kind of came on our list with my mom. And we talked about it for a little while. And then it kind of worn off. So I thought until the end that I would go to the uni in Moscow and stay at home. And then we there was a change of plans very suddenly, because in August I was going from the university, and there was they published a list of who got in, and to the university that I wanted to get in, I didn't get in. So I was I called my mom, and she was like, should we do Czechia? And I was like, okay, yeah, let's try. And then a month later, I was here.
Such a quick
turnaround. It was really,
Yes.
really quick.
Did coming into the Czech Republic and stuff, was it a choice of it being a little bit more comfortable, since slightly, language-wise as well as culture-wise in it too?
I think so, yeah. I think it was a big point because I think Czechia, they're the mentality is not very different. Also, the big point was that the education here is free in Czech. So
Okay.
that's nice.
That's always a good bonus to come to.
And also, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the currency, that they don't have euro still.
Yeah.
It was much easier because back then, I was supported by my parents. So yeah, it was much easier with Czech crown than a euro.
And did this decision, did it come from a desire to travel, or was it just I want to move out of this place and try something different? What was it really based on?
I actually have no idea. I don't know if I of course I was imagining myself traveling, but at the same time, I kind of, because when you live in Russia, it's a bit harder still, because when you live here, you're basically in the center of everything, so you can go wherever, whenever, by trains, by planes, by buses, whatever.
Being
from
in
there,
Central Europe is very convenient to many things.
for sure. And when you're in Russia, you go for, I don't know, 20 hours and you're still in Russia, by car, I mean. So, and going somewhere by plane, even back then it was it wasn't that expensive, but I just couldn't imagine myself doing it for some reason, because I probably didn't have the, I don't know, an example of doing that. So I don't really know why I chose Czechia or chose to move. It was really spontaneous.
Okay.
It was really spontaneous. I mean, probably for education also, because also considering everything here, I guess there are a bit more opportunities that you can have, including Erasmuses.
Yes, you mentioned, I'd like to talk about this a bit too. So, what did you come over here to start studying, or what were you studying there to come to here, or did you only just start university here?
Yeah. So I just finished school and I moved here. Okay. So for a year I had my Czech courses, got a B2 certificate.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. But I mean, my speaking skills weren't as good because there was also COVID. And I didn't speak to any Czechs whatsoever because, our teachers were telling us that the best way to learn Czech is just go to a pub,
right,
get a beer, and just communicate.
And during COVID?
For sure. Yeah. So we were just kind of locked in our rooms.
How is that as your first year coming? You're young, you've left home for the first time, and then you come here and get locked in. Yeah. How did you manage?
I mean, the first half a year, it was actually really nice because we were all living in the dorms, and we had a great team, a great company there. The guys were great from the Czech courses. There were about 10 of us, I guess, and we were all really, really nice friends. So it was always some tea or wine parties in the kitchen. Or something like that. And then it suddenly, we got locked up. And I actually moved here with my friend, who I've known, I think, for 17 years, probably. And we were literally doing everything together. We were sleeping together, we were studying together, we were cooking together, we were going to the store together because you couldn't go to the, outside, just for the store. And that was really hard. Because my routine in Moscow was pretty packed because I was doing music, I was preparing for the exams. We were also doing a performance at school for a prom kind of thing. We made the whole theatrical performance that we wrote ourselves. So it was really nice, but when I moved here, it suddenly went away and it was pretty hard. But yeah, I mean, we got through it.
You made it through. Survived mentally, at least, hopefully. Before I go into all about your music and theater stuff, because I've got a lot of love for that kind of style and stuff too, that process. Staying on the education, you were talking about, and something you sent me in an email, about your Erasmus stuff. You also got to get out once COVID lifted and you got to go to other places. Where did you get to go and how long did you study and stay in these other countries?
So I went to, my first Erasmus was when I was doing my bachelor's. So I went to Belgium, a great city called Ghent. It's a very, very nice one. It's super pretty. I mean, the main square, they have the cathedral there, and it kind of looks from the right angle, it looks like Hogwarts. So it was really nice. Then I went to Poland, I think it was 2 years ago. I always go in summer semester. Okay. Best thing ever. So I went to Poland, to Warsaw, and then I went last year in summer, this year actually in summer, I went to Lisbon, to Portugal.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And again, just for the summer months?
Yeah. Well, for from February to June. Yeah, so summer semester.
Yeah. How is the heat? Coming from colder climes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the week before I left, it was like the ground was burning, literally. It was so hot. It was some anomaly there, I think. But it was really nice because I actually also tried surfing for the first time. It was really, really nice because I'm a very clumsy person. I'm probably the clumsiest person you've ever met.
The whole concept of two left feet.
Yeah. And I thought that I would suck at it. But actually it was easier than I thought. So it was really nice. Yeah, and living next to the ocean, it's just, I mean, amazing,
And then you come back to Ostrava.
Yeah.
No, it's not too bad. And where are you at in your studies now, and what are you studying in this time?
Yeah, so I'm still studying marketing. Well, kind of studying because it's my last year and I'm just writing a thesis and I have to start preparing for the final exams, for the state exams. So yeah, last year.
And then marketing. So this sounds quite different than what you said coming from like theater and such like this. What got you into marketing?
I kind of wanted to study music, but then I don't know, something probably, it's not that it didn't click, but I kind of didn't see myself either teaching music or like, going that much deeper into it. So I was like, okay, so marketing should be kind of creative and like advertising, because I've always been like coming up with some, I don't know, weird slogans or like names of places or something like that. So I decided, okay, so if it's not music, then it's marketing. So yeah, just because I thought that would be creative.
And has it fulfilled that dream so far?
I mean, here, the university, it's very, it's like, there are more engineering like fields here, and so economics here, it's also pretty more of like applied sciences, not the creative kind of marketing. So it's more of economics than something with advertising. But I mean, it's for sure helpful, for sure useful. But I expected that it would be a bit more creative, as I said.
Expectations.
Yeah.
And what do you have ideas for after, once you finally get that master's and take off from the university?
Like, to be honest, I have no idea. Because now I teach English. I teach English. I really like it. I mean, I work with very nice people. I also like doing it because, I don't work with kids, I work with adults mostly. And it's kind of nice when you teach them something, but they also teach you something. I work with people from like 22 up to 55, I think, years old. And they just tell you either their life stories or like something from their experience that's very fascinating, and also, give you some advice, maybe even. So it's really nice.
Do you do this mostly privately, or are you working with a company or something?
Yeah, I do it privately. I mean, I kind of work for one school, but it's also online.
Right.
But I have just a couple students from there. And all the other students are just my own with, word of mouth kind of recommendations.
So you prefer the face-to-face than the online stuff?
No, I do it online. Everything I do
everything's
online.
done online.
Yeah,
okay, so you're not out at the pubs meeting people or anything like
Yeah.
this? Okay. But don't you think there might be some like better connection, like learning more, as you said, being face-to-face? Or is this just the way life is with teaching now?
I feel like it's a very nice benefit of being able to do it from the comfort of your own home. Because
you can stay in pajamas all day.
I don't stay in pajamas. It actually, it's very, like, it helps me to wake up. I just, put my makeup on, put some clothes on. Of course, maybe not this, but like, something okay
so
looking.
I see. So we get this, and your students, fine.
Yeah.
I see how it goes.
But yeah, I think it's very nice because this way you kind of can, put more in your schedule and not waste time on commuting. So that's always nice.
Because I know with teaching, as I used to do it as well, so much of your hours are the preparation, not so much the class itself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get into the meat of this one that I've wanted to talk to you about. I've heard you perform only once myself, but you doing music and you sing, and you're working with some other people that are very connected to the Ostrava Expat Centre. I saw you at the birthday party in the Futurel, where we had the exhibition that I was at as well. And so tell me about your music thing. You wrote to me and said that you've been into singing for most of your life. And what brought you into this? Did you do anything with it back home? And how did you get back into it here by meeting some of the people? As
I said, I've been basically singing, or like I'm connected with music for the majority of my life. Because my mom, her first degree, she's a professional pianist. So she was always like playing at home. And we also, in our old apartment, we had this small room and we had a TV that had a karaoke player. And we were always doing that.
Cool.
So we're always doing karaoke. I don't know about like neighbors. They probably, I don't know. They either danced with us or they hated us. Then I went to music school. And actually because most people who went to music school, they told me that their parents made them go there.
Right.
And I was like, I came to my mom and I was like, I want to go sing. Please get me to the audition.
Okay.
So she got me to an audition, and they didn't want to take me because I was 11 at the time, and they told me that I'm too old for learn how to sing.
Oh,
because
lovely.
your voice, yeah, because 11 apparently for girls, your voice is already kind of like formed, and it's very hard to change the way how you breathe and you sing and whatever. So when they didn't want to take me, I wanted to go to play saxophone because I was like, okay, that's cool. And when I signed up for the audition for the saxophone, which I didn't know how to play, they just, they kind of like met with you and asked you some questions or whatever.
Do you know what a reed is?
Yeah. And but then they actually called me from the vocal singing department, and they were like, okay, so I mean, you can come.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So changed their mind at least.
Yeah. So I was studying music for 5 years, and then we kind of also have finals at the end of 9th grade at school, and at that time I also had my finals in music school. So and then I had 2 more years of like normal school, and I was really missing music because basically like every week I was going to one class or another, either singing or like piano or solfeggio, and I was really missing it, and I just went to some kind of like a studio where there was a teacher, and I continued singing. So yeah, and then I came here. And I was kind of sad because, again, the COVID came, and I didn't have anything to do with music here. But then, once I came back from Belgium for my first Erasmus, I somehow met Martin, our guitarist, and we started collaborating.
Okay.
And now we're 4.
Right. And does this band have a name now? Yes?
Yeah, so we are Rumor Nights.
Rumor
Nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you play around, like what places can you be found here? For the audience, of course.
So with Ostrava Expat Centre, we actually played twice in Dock, which was an amazing experience, of course, because Dock is, the place that you end up in Ostrava when you made something in music. Then we performed in Stara Arena here, Futurum, but also with Ostrava Expat Centre. What else? I mean, some bars, pubs on Stodolni. We also performed there. We also performed at Studio G, not just with Ostrava Expat Centre, but also by ourselves, I think. Places like that, places that normally have live music. So any basically bars, pubs that tend to have concerts, we go there. And Martin is amazing with communications. He always finds someone, some connection,
Some connection to get through, which is what you need the most. It's not. It's not the what you know; it's the who you know part. So with the music, what kind of style would you say your music is? Are you doing covers, originals, or now a mix, or what?
Yeah, we mostly do covers. We started with covers. Now we have 2 original songs written by Martin. Very nice ones. But yeah, mostly pop music. So you can hear everything from like Lady Gaga to Adele to Ed Sheeran, Pink.
Right. So you're doing like 4-piece covers of like major pop production stuff like this. How do you think you pull this off as a pulling down these grand productions, especially something like Lady Gaga, and pulling it down to a kind of acoustic-y thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work, I guess, but it's not as hard as it might seem, probably. I don't know, maybe we're just used to it, so that's why I think that it's like that. But yeah, Martin is also amazing with coming up with new arrangements for different songs, because sometimes it's very hard because I sing, and I can like sometimes manage if I sing either in a higher volume or not, to make it more acoustic, or a bit like kind of try to change the style a bit. He has to come up with new arrangements sometimes because you know, sometimes the music doesn't sound same as, for example, the original one when it goes like do 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 do. You know, it has to be a bit more mellow and kind of slower. So yeah.
I know that well. I used to play music in Krakow,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
our band was more like a rock alternative, but then we would do a cover of "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time."
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
pulling
We
that
do
down
that
into-
too.
with guys. It's a common one. Right?
Yeah.
Are you playing anywhere soon that you can tell people? Get your chance to promote while you can.
Yeah, well, I mean, now as we played our last concert at Studio G with Ostrava Expat Centre, I think until the end of the year we're probably not gonna play anything anymore because
It's a very busy
you
season.
know, yeah, December is always like that. We're like all of us, I think we're snowed under with work, but probably at the beginning of the new year. I hope so. I also got some contact at Boom Boom, so hopefully we can perform there because it's an amazing place. So yeah.
Do you have the ability to go into the studio to record these new songs of your own? And are you planning on more? Like, when's the album release?
Yeah, I think actually next year. Yeah. So we never recorded anything, but I think we have it in plan. Yeah, I think we have it planned. Probably, yeah, somewhere next year. I'm not sure when, but yeah.
And how often do you get to practice with the group? I know you play around a lot, but do you get to actually sit in and practice, or is most of your rehearsals actually on stage?
No. So it's a very funny thing because so our drummer, Lasse, we almost never practice with him. And it's like pretty hard, but at the same time he's an amazing musician, you know, so, and he also knows all the songs through and through, and like most of the time we practice with Martin here.
I know
Yeah.
you do a lot of the music nights here too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we practice here. We also recently got a bass player, the second Martin. We have a lot of Martins.
Great. This country has got about like 4 or 5 names.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And we also practiced in his basement because he has a very like full equipped basement for, you know, like a studio.
You've mentioned a lot through this about playing for the Expat Centre and things like this. How did you get involved, or when did you learn about this place, and who did you meet to get you into it? Did you know about it before you came over from Moscow, or was it something you found here?
I didn't know anything about it. I think actually the time I found out about it was again when I came back from Belgium, and I think it might have been through Martin. I'm not sure now, or there was some event that they were, maybe in the dorm they actually had like a poster that was promoting either a music club. Yeah, it was probably a music club or something, or a Christmas party or something like. It was for sure in December.
Right.
And I came with some of my friends, and it was amazing because we actually got to know, at the first time that we were here, we got to know so many people who are one of my best friends now. So yeah, I probably found out about it either through Martin or through the poster, through some campaign or ad.
Okay. And did they really get you help with anything? Did you come in like needing assistance like so many people do, or did you just come in to like, hey, I'm playing music for you guys now, or entertaining?
Yeah, I actually had no idea that I would be playing music because with Martin we were just talking about it at the time, and I didn't know that anything would come out of it. But I came here just, I guess, to meet new people because again, most of the time that I was here, there was COVID. So I was like, oh my gosh, I really need to meet some new people because I imagined that I would come here, I would have so many new friends, so many new like acquaintances, connections, and nothing of that happened because of the of the COVID. So yeah, I basically came here for friendships.
Always a good thing.
Yeah.
And last point I kind of want to talk to you about, because I'm fascinated with your country as well, because I've traveled it a few times. I've done like Trans-Siberian or been around Moscow and many other places, St. Petersburg stuff. What are you finding that, especially this time of year, The episode's not releasing till January, but it's Christmas right now. What are you finding that you're kind of missing from home? Or what are some cultural things that are just like, oh, that's a bit odd, or this is better or worse, or whatnot?
To be honest, when I first, I probably was, I wasn't smart enough to check out the pictures of Ostrava. I mean, I did check out the pictures,
Okay.
but the pictures were only of the main square here. So I was like, okay, Europe, perfect, amazing.
Looks like
And then
everywhere else.
Yeah. And then I came, so my dorms, they were in Zabrze.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came there on tram, and I was like, I'm at home or something. It's like, it looks like, like the outskirts of Moscow. It looks like that. My gosh, okay.
Good catch there.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was complaining about Ostrava a lot to my friends and to my family. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so small. I cannot, do it. It's so, there's nothing to do here. Also because, there was, again, COVID, and my brain just thought like that. But I don't know, probably the thing that I miss is hustle bustle, because Moscow is a huge city and never sleeps.
Yeah, you're definitely coming from quite a comparison of how many million now is?
17 or something.
17, yeah. To Ostrava, which is definitely,
And but I know that I cannot compare to, I cannot compare them because they're very different. Also, the countries are very different. And now, I mean, I don't know what I miss most.
There's got to be some foods or...
No, actually no, because
No?
I mean,
Solyanka?
having regular dinners with my friends, we we make all the dishes that we make at home.
Mm-hmm.
So,
such as?
Solyanka or borscht, or we're big on soups, or I don't know, pancakes, but the thin ones, the crepes.
The crepes.
Yeah. Pelmeni.
Mm.
Yeah, great thing, but they have them here in some stores, so it's also okay. You can live with that. You can get by.
All right, but being close enough to the border with Poland, borscht or barscht?
I mean, for me, it's always going to be borscht.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a very good Ukrainian friend that's also like, no. Sorry,
Yeah,
Poland, you
yeah.
can't beat it. You can't.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, you have a thicker, soupier, it's
Yeah.
more meat to it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, they're more. I guess the soups are more full in general in Russia.
And of course, will you be going back to see your family for Christmas?
For Christmas, for sure not, because I was back home in summer.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice, but now I think I'm just going to be here celebrating the Czech Christmas, also New Year with my friends here.
Of course, you have the Orthodox Christmas times there too. So
that's true. Yeah. We don't celebrate it much in my family because we're not very religious. But yeah, here, even if people are not religious, Christmas is still the main holiday. Yeah. So yeah,
you get some time off to do.
Yeah.
At the end of the year and stuff like this, what would you say is a good little message from yourself to everybody to cheer everyone up for this time of year? Do you have any kind of nice thoughts? Something that they can do to go out and pick yourself up in these weird times? But we need to have something good to hold on to for the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably sound cheesy, but for me, it's always going to be people. Yeah. Spending time with your nearest dearest. It's always the best thing you can do, especially during this time of the year. So yeah, just hold on to people, I guess.
Play some music for them, cheer them up and things like that.
Yeah. Music is also a good thing.
Well, so thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful holiday time, and you get to see your family at some point in time.
Thank you so
summer.
much. Thanks.
And I look forward to definitely coming out and seeing you in the new year when you start playing again.
Hopefully.
Finally.
Yeah, you should.
I definitely
Definitely.
should. I know. I need to be more social in my life. Thank you so much for everyone for watching. And if you are yourself an expat and got a good story, please contact us. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us about your life and what goes on, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Ostrava Expat Centre.